Also, George, I wanted to ask you a question. You are one person I follow and I look up to and I learn a lot from you. But I just can't put my head around why you call yourself a god, George. Can you please explain that to me?
Oh, no, I don't call myself a god. God calls us gods.
Where? How?
Which God do you believe in?
I believe in the Muslim God, Allah.
Jesus.
Did your God create the universe?
Yes, he did.
How long did it take?
7 days.
Oh, the same Christian story is the same Muslim story.
Yes, Muslim, we believe in the Bible.
Okay, so who am I talking to?
Ibrahim?
Bin.
Yes.
There is some, I think it's Mose. Mose, mute your mic, please. There we go. Thank you. So, Andrew, can you pull up on Genesis on day 6? So, how did the world look like on day 6? Have you ever given it a thought? How the world looked like on day 6? When God looked at it and said it was perfect?
By perfect, that means it was the world. The way I can picture it in my head is like the world was on its natural state.
So the sea was sea, the lakes was lake, the mountains were mountains, the valleys were valleys, the highlands were highlands, the forests were forests. Correct? Perfect.
That is correct.
And then God said what? He looked at it and found it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then he created a man, human male, in his own image.
Mm-hmm. That's what the Bible says.
So let me throw you off a little bit. When you hear black people complaining about everything that I'm talking about, American black people.
Okay.
Of everything about America, including calling the white man supremacist. What do they? That stupid name they use. White supremacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they do not want to occupy the position of power and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So they assign themselves a position of complaining about a higher being. But when God created man in his own image, that in itself gave the man, at the very least, the potential to be God in his own image. And the reason I'm bringing the black Americans is because they have the power, they have the potential, but they just choose not to step in the plate. I want to make sure I can insult anybody I want. This was not an insult at this moment. It's just a parallel to explain to you that there could be this potential of taking a totally new turn and you become great, but you choose a position of a minor value, and then you look up to the other one as the supreme. But at that moment, God created man, human male, in his own image. There is, at the very least, the potential for you to be God, like God. Okay?
Judge, this is Richard. I'm saying in Psalms 82 verse 6.
Hang on. We don't do that here. Please mute yourself and the baby behind you. So I'm still talking to Bean, right?
I'm here.
And Musi, Mute yourself one last time, I'll kick you out. So we can agree if our interpretation of our diverse languages, the word in his image means almost a composite copy of God. Can we agree that? Let's remove all the noises of the Christianity or your own religion that has fed you. Let's just agree that the only language that here matters is English, and the direct, innocent translation of that is if I put a pencil through a 3D printer, it's going to give me a composite image of the pencil with the limitation of the English language, right? In his image, in his own image.
But that is an attribute.
So I want you to exempt yourself from defending God. You have been taught through the Christian way or the religious way to defend God as this supreme being, the same way I prefaced with the Black Americans who look up to the white man as white supremacy. They deny themselves the power to be supreme. And they give this power to this pale-skinned human. So in the same way now, I am trying to show you at this very moment, you are still looking at God as if you are a black man in America looking up to a white man as white supreme. But that's not what God intended if we are only limited to the English language. In his own image. So just objectively, let's agree on that for the purpose of this conversation.
Okay.
That we are only limited to the English language, and that is the simplest explanation of what that means. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And now we flip on to the next verse, and it says, he gave man, this human male, dominion over everything, and took the pain to explain in details, including the fish in the ocean and the birds in the air. I mean, in painstakingly making sure that this has been captured in this our limited only English language. Are we clear there?
Mm-hmm.
So we can agree that the world looked like a virgin, like you would go to Alaska or you would go to Fiji. That untouched piece of property. The trees are perfect, the ocean is perfect, the lakes are blue, the rivers are flowing, everything looks in its own place. And to him, he had done, God now, he had done his best. He thumped himself in the chest and said he looked at it and saw it perfect. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this guy who has been split out of a 3D printer to be a complete composite copy of God has now been given dominion over everything, as we explained. Go back to the Christian Bible and read it. Now, does your world look the way it looked on day 6?
No.
Okay. If God came on this world and tell you, for the purpose of this conversation, I'm not going to hold you blasphemy for saying something against me. Okay, you have been given that liberty by our God that you are not going to offend him in the next sentence. Okay, are you comfortable? Hasn't man done a better job than the one God did on day 6? If you look at the world today and you look at on day 6, hasn't man done a better job? Because and when you say man, we're only talking about human male. The man, unlike God, now remember, we have this complete immunity. We are not going to be accused of blasphemy. I'm protecting your religious softness. Man figured out, if I needed to cross this ocean, I need to build a boat of diverse levels, of diverse sizes, of diverse speeds, of diverse needs, from a sailboat to the super ships that are traversing the oceans from China to all over the world. The man figured that out. The man figured out, if I need to cut these dangerous voyages from this continent to the other continent, I can build an airplane to fly me in 24 hours. Today, I was with my customer, and he had left the US last week on Sunday, Central Standard Time, Texas time, and he was going to Australia, and he arrived in Australia on Tuesday. Okay? Okay?
Yes.
So today, when I met him, he was telling me, when he told me he left here on Sunday and he arrived in Australia on Sunday on an airplane. Let's remember that.
Yes.
The fastest mode of transportation we have now